everyone, welcome to a new video here on my channel. My name is Casey. Welcome. So today is another Tarot Tuesday video. I hope you guys are enjoying Tarot Tuesday. I know it's definitely a different little vibe here on my channel. I've gotten some feedback more so from people in my personal life, less so here on YouTube. So if you guys are enjoying Tarot Tuesday, make sure you let me know down below. Today in Tarot Tuesday, we are going to talk about my psychic experiences. Ever since I knew what a medium was, I've been pretty fascinated by them. My first ever experience, I guess, learning about mediums was Teresa Caputo, the Long Island medium, and I'm not kidding, I kid you not. I read 2 of her books. I read There's More to Life Than This, and then her second book, which is this one right here, is You Can't Make This Stuff Up. The first one I lent to my grandmother, and then she lent it to my aunt, and I never got it back. So I don't have that one right now, but I read both of them. I love Teresa. Main reason why and how I became so intrigued by it and so okay with mediumship and psychic abilities is because of Teresa. The way she explains life and death in her books is so calming and reassuring, and she talks about being Catholic and having this gift, which I think is so important, especially for someone like me. I relate to that so much. I mean, I don't have an intuitive psychic ability, but when she introduced herself in these books and talked about how kind of the whole idea of mediumship and psychic ship in the Catholic Church is kind of taboo, definitely not seen as something that's a good thing. It's demonic, I think, to the church, from what I can understand of it from the perspective of the church. And I don't want to get into too much detail about that, but the fact that Teresa was born and raised in the Catholic Church and still goes to church and does all that stuff really just resonated with me, and that was one of the reasons why I love her, and I highly recommend reading her books, because they help. They really do help understand the connection between you and the universe and the other beings that are out there. She turned me on to mediumship. I've had 3 so far psychic experiences that I'm going to explain here to you today. I did talk about my first real, true, delicious psychic experience in a vlog when it happened. I'll leave that linked above in case I, miss anything in this video. I would actually say my first ever psychic experience happened at I went to a show with what was the medium's name? Oh my god, how could I forget her name? I don't remember her name, but I went with Mary Pat, who is my future sister-in-law. It's Brendan, my fiance's brother's girlfriend, Mary Pat. She got some tickets to go see a medium at the Funny Bone it's a comedy club here in Syracuse, but there's other performers and entertainment that goes there as well. So I went to that with Mary Pat, and it was a huge group of people, probably 100 people, maybe more, in a room, and the psychic got up on stage and started doing readings, talking about how she does her job and asking people to raise their hands if they had any connections and whatnot. I felt a lot of power in that moment. I wanted to say things, and I felt connected to some of the things that she was saying, and I wanted to speak up, but I was too afraid because there were so many people. And I just remember being really moved by the whole thing, but not getting a full grasp and a full reading. I didn't get that intimate experience at this particular reading, but it was an eye-opening experience, and it made me want more. It made me want to seek out a medium personally. But this was several years ago, right after my grandmother passed away. I went with Mary Pat and her parents to this show. So that was my first psychic experience, being in a room with a real medium and feeling a lot of feelings. This past September, my mom and my sisters and I decided to go to a local medium here in Syracuse for the first time. We absolutely love her. Her name is Michelle. If you're in the Syracuse area and you want to go see a psychic, I highly recommend Michelle. She is just such a warm person. She makes you feel reassured, comfortable, and just she just radiates such a positive light that, like, I would highly recommend going to see her if you like want some guidance in your spiritual life. Me, my mom, and my sisters went to see her. My aunts had actually gone to see her in the past, and they loved all their readings with her and had really good experiences. So we were really excited to go see her and hopefully connect with our grandma, my mom's mom, who that's like mainly the reason that we wanted to go, was to try to get to talk to grandma again. So we went, and it was an overwhelming experience. I can't even describe to you like how, the word that I can't even, it was like a wave of relief that washed over me at this meeting with Michelle, and I just felt so at peace and so at ease and like okay for the first time. It was like a healing moment. I felt healed for the first time since my grandma passed away. We went into her little room. We opened up with a prayer, and as we started praying, and when we were finished with the prayer, it felt like warmer in the room. The room got like toasty, and Michelle actually pointed it out and brought it to our attention. She said, "Do you feel like it got warmer in here? Do you feel that temperature change, that spirit coming forward? That's all of your loved ones coming here to talk with us." That warm energy feeling, it was overwhelming, and I remember that specifically. Like, it got warmer, and it just felt like sunlight was like beaming out of the room. It just felt very good. Right after we had the prayer, she couldn't hold back the question, "Who is Carol?" And Carol is my grandmother. She like had to ask, like she couldn't move forward until she asked us who Carol was, because Carol was just there like bugging her and telling her, "Hey, my girls, these are my girls, they're mine." So my grandma came forward like immediately, like as soon as we walked in the door, and me and my mom and my sisters just started bawling our eyes out, because it was just like literal, like an affirmation, just so powerful and overwhelming that grandma was right there and we could talk to her. Michelle was the medium between us and my grandma. It was like overwhelming and exciting to be able to talk to my grandma. So that was so powerful, and the best part of the whole reading, I gotta say, was that alone. Moving on from that moment, she then had us pick some angel cards, which I think are just angel oracle cards. To my understanding, I believe they're something along the lines of oracle cards. And I chose the wedding card, which was so powerful to me. I flipped it over and I started crying because grandma was there. Grandma knows, and we even talked about in her life here with us, I talked a lot about how I didn't want her to miss my wedding. I didn't want her to miss all these milestones that would be coming up in my life, and I was, you know, upset when she was here that she was ready to move on to the next life, and I wanted her here to spend those memories with us. So the fact that I pulled the wedding card was such a reassuring feeling that my grandma is with me all the time and will be there on my wedding day. And it was just like overwhelming. Another overwhelming, powerful moment that stuck out to me from this reading. Other points about my grandma specifically that Michelle talked about that was just so my grandma. She said that Carol is showing me her grabbing your faces and going like this and just like kissing you, and my grandma always did this, like, so this is gonna look so weird, but she used to kiss us like this, like and Michelle kind of like portrayed that specific way of kissing to us, and it was just another overwhelming connection that she made, and it was really awesome. And then the touching of the face, my grandma used to say this saying in Italian. I have no idea what it means. I I just know how to say it. She used to go, Musha Musil, Pizza de God, Dagna Bagna Me. No, 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 no. I have no idea what that means. I don't even know if I said it right, but I remember it. So she kept saying that she's touching our faces and like going like this, and that's Musha Mushil. That was crazy that she had that to say to us. The other thing my grandma wanted to make known, and she wanted to tell Michelle when she was doing the reading, was that my grandma's up in heaven with all her men. And that literally made us laugh out loud, because my grandma, my poor grandma, was widowed 3 times. Really sad, unfortunate love life for my grandma. At the ripe age of 20, she lost her first husband, who was my biological grandfather. And then she married, again, the grandfather that I knew growing up, my grandpa Frank, when she was, I don't know how old my grandma was, but they were married for a long time. And he passed away when I was like 6 years old in kindergarten. So my grandma was widowed again. And then around the time my little sister was born, Molly, she reconnected with her high school sweetheart chick, who we, you know, came to know and love so much. And he also passed away about a year before my grandma, almost to the day. She lost a lot of love in her life and dealt with so much illness. I'm making this out to be like about my grandma, but you guys know, if you watch my channel, how connected I am to her and how much she means to me. And I live in her house, and I own her house now, and me and my fiance live here. So I just have a lot of love and like connection to my grandmother. I don't want to start crying. I'm gonna start crying. It felt like it was a really long reading too. It was the first time we met with Michelle, and it was just so powerful. So many of our loved ones came forward. My great grandmother specifically came through again and told Michelle that she's holding my future baby daughter, and she's ready to hand her over to me as soon as I'm ready to take her. So the fact that she's already met my future daughter really just was so touching and so overwhelming to hear. And Michelle talked a lot about my great grandmother, which was my grandma's mom, being like the keeper of all the children, and just being like the person up in heaven that is like gathering all of the children and all of the spirits that are going to be sent our way. Like, going to a medium, honestly, I have to preach it. It is just so healing to the soul. I wouldn't say that if I didn't mean it. Like, I have had pretty good experiences going to Michelle. So that was pretty much like the big key points from the first reading that we had with her. Other people did come forward. My grandpa Frank, my grandpa Larry, my grandpa Lucio, my grandma Lucio, my dad's mom, my grandma Leonard. They all came forward, and it was amazing. We also like asked her about animals, because we lost our Katie, our family dog, a couple years ago as well, and we just wanted to know that Katie is up there too. And she kind of gave us like a general answer about animals, but the whole first experience with her was absolutely amazing. And then we went to see her a second time a couple months ago in January, last month. And it was definitely not quite the same as the first time we went. She really focused on my sister Devin, who seemingly probably needed to hear words from her the most. I healed so much, honestly, in the first reading that I didn't have much left. Like, I didn't have any scars, I didn't have any wounds that were, you know, trying to heal on their own going into the second meeting with Michelle, because I felt so much better and stronger that it didn't feel as powerful going into the second reading, because I didn't have as much to fix within myself. Right now my sister's at like a pivotal point in her life. If you know anything about like your mid to late 20s, it's like a pivotal point in your life. I think there's something about like Mercury moving around the earth, and it comes like full circle like on your 27th year or something like that. But my sister is like more so in that area of her life than I am. So our second reading with her, I did end up recording it on my phone, which I wish that we had the first reading because it was so much more powerful. Specifically from the second reading, I didn't get too much out of it. My grandma definitely came forward right, you know, in the beginning, like really spunky and sassy, and Michelle pointed it out, and it was like another overwhelming thing. Just my grandma is so close to us that there's no way that like we can even be separated with life and death. She's just like here, like her presence is here. It's overwhelming and it's not going anywhere. My mom's biological dad, so my grandpa Larry, came forward a lot more for my mom and had my mom focus on a lot of things to pay attention to in her months, weeks coming up. We talked about my wedding, we talked about birthdays, my little sister Molly, when Michelle mentioned like she could sense a birthday coming up. Sorry guys, my battery died as per usual whenever I'm filming. So I don't really remember exactly what I was talking about, but I was actually just listening to the second reading that we had with her, and I'm like, I have like 20 minutes left of what I was listening to. But that being said, yes, we were talking about birthdays, I think, when my sister, when she brought up like a birthday coming up, which was spot on because it was my birthday. And I think what I was trying to refer to back when I was talking about like my sister and like her being in a pivotal point in her life was talking about her Saturn return. I really am so fascinated with astrology and I'd love to explore it more, but yeah. So what else was stood out from that second reading? I'm just listening to it back again, and nothing personally really for me, focused more on my mom and my sister. The main message that Spirit wanted to give me during that reading was that I need to relax with like all the hustle and bustle of wedding planning, that I just need to take a chill pill. I honestly feel like I have been doing a better job at that. And also another thing Michelle explained to us during the session was how we were going through an eclipse back in January when we went to visit her, and how all your emotions can come forward during an eclipse. Thought that was cool. Going to a medium, it doesn't necessarily always mean that you're going to connect with the other side, but sometimes they just say things that resonate with your life and people, and then what Spirit's telling the medium to tell you is something you should take to heart and try to incorporate and keep in mind as you step out of your session with the psychic and move forward. So overall, I've had really good psychic experiences with my personal psychic. I guess you could call her my personal psychic. I don't know. But both the experiences have been positive, and the first one was overwhelmingly positive. So I highly recommend, if you've recently lost a loved one and you just don't know where to turn, you want to heal. It takes some time to heal. My grandmother died in 2015. And it wasn't until 3 years after she passed that we finally decided and got together to go talk to the medium. I truly believe that sometimes in afterlife, it's not like an instant feeling. You're not going to instantly feel the presence of your loved one around you. Like a month could go by and you could be asking for signs and looking for answers and you're not getting them. I found that right off the bat with my grandma, I was getting signs left and right. Like the minute she left this earth, left her earthly body, like I immediately was seeing signs. And then it dwindled, and now the signs come when I need them to come. As weird as that sounds, I ask my loved ones for signs all the time if I am praying to them specifically. I talk to Jesus, I talk to God, I talk to my spirit guides. I wish I knew my spirit guides better. I feel like I want to work on a relationship with my spirit guides. I just think that if you have the opportunity to go see a medium, to do it. Especially if you're in the need for a positive healing experience. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it wasn't boring. I hope that it resonates with some of you. I would love to know what kinds of experiences you've had with psychic mediums down below, so let me know if you've had good experiences, if you've had bad experiences, and what those experiences were like. Let me know. And thank you guys all so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to my channel for more Tarot Tuesday and more videos like this from me. And I'll see you all in another time. Bye everyone. I picked 10 categories of things that I want to save money for and living expenses that aren't bills basically.